don't know why you're left alone. Don't you understand why you surround yourself with many fake people? First of all, listen to this story. This is the story of Marco, an intelligent and wise man, but he was also very talkative. He liked to share his plans with his friend Lucius, an ambitious man who did not share Marco's ideals much. One day, Marco told Lucio an important secret. He told her that he was planning a business that could be very profitable. Lucius was delighted with Marcus's secret. He knew he could use that secret to his own advantage. But how? Well, Lucio went to talk to a rival of Marco and told him the secret. Marcus's rival was very interested in the business and offered Lucius a large sum of money for the secret. Lucio accepted the offer. He sold the secret to Marco's rival and kept the money. When Marcus found out what Lucius had done, he felt betrayed. He realized that he had made a mistake by talking too much and not having waited until he finished his business before telling them. Marcus had spent a lot of time making his plan come true, and overnight, because he had trusted Lucius, he had nothing left. All their dedication was in vain. What can we learn from Marco's story? That silence is a powerful tool. It can help protect us from betrayal and injustice. The Stoics believed that silence was a way to cultivate self-discipline, focus, and wisdom. Do you have a lot of trouble keeping quiet? Is the emotion still winning you over and you talk? Or do you always want to stand out? Well, your impulsiveness to talk too much is about to end. Stay the whole video and you will learn to value silence. But first, I'm going to ask you two things. 1. Subscribe to the channel, and 2. Turn on the notification bell. In this way, this Stoic family will continue to grow. Now let's get started. In Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature, the following truth is illustrated to us. It is not that we are bad communicators, but we miss many things in our conversations with others. Either we talk too much about ourselves, or we just don't listen enough. The Stoics knew how harmful our words could be if we said the wrong thing too often. That's why Zeno, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus wrote about the importance of well-thought-out speech. 1. Shut up and listen. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we must listen twice as much as we speak, says Zeno of Citium. If a person you care about comes to you to explain their problems, how frustrated they are, immediately you start analyzing their problem. You tell them that they have to do this and that. Otherwise, all your problems will persist. Meanwhile, you didn't realize that they never asked you for advice, only your ear. That's right. Sometimes people just need to be heard, but we interpret their silence or frustration as an invitation to jump in and save the day. That's not a Stoic response, and it's certainly not what makes an effective listener. Did you know that a 2014 study published in the International Journal of Listening found that the most crucial component to conversational satisfaction is active listening? Marcus Aurelius says that being silent and listening is one of the best ways to learn and improve as a person. The Roman emperor wrote in his Meditations that we must be willing to listen to others with attention and respect, without interrupting or judging. In this way, we will be able to draw on the wisdom of those around us and correct our own mistakes. In addition, by being silent and listening, we show humility and recognize that we do not know everything. This helps us cultivate virtue and inner peace, which are the goals of Stoic philosophy. So, the next time someone talks to you, shut up and listen, and you'll see your life get richer. By listening more and talking less, we come to understand the problems of others and are therefore more prepared to help them. 2. Use silence to focus on your goals. Stoicists were very disciplined and determined people who pursued their goals with constancy and perseverance. Silence helps us focus on what we want to achieve without being distracted by external or internal noises. Silence allows us to plan, organize, and execute our actions effectively. Chaim Potok, a Jewish writer and rabbi, says of silence, "I have begun to realize that you can listen to silence and learn from it. It has a quality and a dimension of its own." We can understand that silence is not only a powerful tool to improve our concentration, creativity, and productivity, but also a safe place to make mistakes, a place to bring out our true selves and analyze the situation and give our best. According to philosophy, silence allows us to connect with our essence, with our inner wisdom, and with our purpose in life. Silence helps us filter out the external and internal noise that distracts and overwhelms us and focuses on what really matters, our goals. Silence invites us to reflect, to meditate, to listen, to observe, and to learn. Silence inspires us to act coherently, responsibly, and with excellence. Silence is a form of respect for ourselves and for others. Silence is a virtue that we can cultivate to improve our quality of life and our professional performance. 3. Count to 3 before answering. It is better to stumble with your feet than with your tongue, Zeno of Citium. Epictetus described the famous dichotomy of control, a masterful way of understanding what is in our power to change and what is not. Essentially, Epictetus says that what is under our control is what is our own doing. Opinion, motivation, and desire are examples of this, including speech. What is not in our control is what is not our own doing. Things like our reputation, our social status, and the circumstances in which we are born. Language proficiency is a skill that requires a lot of effort and practice. It is no accident that great orators are admired for their eloquence and persuasion, but we can also improve the way we communicate if we are aware that our words have an impact on others and ourselves. Therefore, when we participate in a conversation, whether informal or formal, it is advisable to pause before speaking. We can count to 3 in our mind and take advantage of that time to evaluate what we are going to say, if it is appropriate to the context and the interlocutor, if it can offend or hurt someone, or if it really brings something of value to the dialogue. Let's not get carried away by the automatic or impulsive reaction of answering the first thing that comes to mind. Let's reflect on what we want to convey and how we are going to express it. Thus, we will be able to develop greater Stoic self-awareness and improve our communicative quality. Never say anything that doesn't improve silence. Richard Yates. Before continuing, I invite you again to follow us. That will help us a lot to grow as a channel. Okay, let's continue. 4. Take advantage of silence to learn from the wise. For the Stoics, silence was a powerful tool for learning from the wise, as it allowed them to listen carefully, reflect deeply, and avoid distractions. Silence was also a form of respect for teachers and for oneself, as it demonstrated humility, moderation, and self-control. The Stoics believed that silence was a source of wisdom, as it helped them to better understand nature, reason, and morality. The Stoicists were avid readers and admirers of history's great thinkers. Silence makes it easier for us to access knowledge and wisdom from books, podcasts, courses, or any other source of information that inspires and teaches us. Silence allows us to absorb and assimilate what we read and hear, and thus enrich our mind. Literary sages, those who have captured their thoughts and experiences in works of great value, are an inexhaustible source of knowledge and wisdom. Reading not only nourishes us intellectually, but we also learn to live with ourselves, to enjoy that time, and not to depend on other people for our leisure and entertainment. For Epictetus, reading was a way to exercise reason, virtue, and self-control, and to learn from the wise men who have gone before us. 5. Use silence to disarm others. The best response to anger is silence. This ancient German proverb expresses a wisdom that the Stoics also shared. The Stoics considered anger to be a form of temporary madness that made us lose control of ourselves and our ability to reason and empathize with others. Therefore, when we are faced with a conflictive situation or a person who provokes us, the best thing we can do is to stay calm and not be carried away by negative emotions. Marcus Aurelius left us an example of how to practice this virtue. In his Meditations, he wrote, "It is not necessary to turn this into something. It doesn't have to bother you." With these words, He teaches us not to give more importance than he has to what others say or do to us, and not to take it as a personal attack. Instead of responding aggressively or defensively, we can use silence as a tool to disarm others and to reflect on our own attitude. This way we can respond with tact and restraint when appropriate and avoid escalating the conflict or damaging the relationship. Even responding with silence to a person who tries to hurt you is to disarm him or her by making him or her understand that you will not waste your time with someone with him or her. Focus on who you really are, and the words of others will not define you. Silence is a powerful response that demonstrates maturity, self-control, and respect. It's not about ignoring or repressing what we feel, but about choosing how to express it in the best way possible. The next time you find yourself in a tense or uncomfortable situation, remember the German proverb and the advice of Marcus Aurelius, and you will see how silence can be your best ally. 6. Express gratitude. Gratitude is a virtue that we must cultivate at all times. As Epictetus said, "Do not speak of the services you have rendered, but of the favors you have received." When we share our successes with others, we must not forget to acknowledge the support and help we have received from others. "Thank you, I have great mentors," or "I wouldn't have made it without my team," are short, heartfelt responses that demonstrate humility and appreciation. That is, we must see our life with a bird's eye view so that we can be as objective as possible in identifying our faults. Similarly, we must be objective and fair when talking about our achievements. Are you thanking those who have helped you? Is it ego or gratitude that motivates your words? Surely, the second is more profitable. 7. Seek silence to meditate and relax. And for this last point, I will be brief. Stoicists practiced meditation as a way to calm the mind and body and to free themselves from stress and anxiety. Silence allows us to enter a state of peace and tranquility, where we can observe our thoughts and emotions without judging or reacting to them. Silence allows us to calm down and balance ourselves. Conclusion. Remember that your task is to be a good human being. Remember what nature demands of people. Then do it without hesitation and tell the truth as you see it, but with kindness, with humility, without hypocrisy. Marcus Aurelius, speaking eloquently in front of someone who is shouting at you, feeling true empathy for a dear friend who just wants to be heard. This is the power of Stoic silence. A story that I like to tell is the story of Milton Erickson, who at the age of 17 contracted polio, a viral disease that affected many Americans at the beginning of the 20th century. Doctors told him he wouldn't survive the night, but Milton clung to life. However, he was completely paralyzed, except for his eyes. He could not speak or move, only observe the world around him. Far from resigning himself or regretting, Milton took this opportunity to develop a keen perception of human behavior. One day, while his 7 sisters were chatting near him, Milton noticed something surprising. One of them said, "It's a great idea," with a bored tone and a forced smile. Milton realized that she was not sincere and that there was something more behind her words. He watched in silence, using the forced stillness as a place of study. Over time, whether they were nervous, happy, sad, or envious, Milton knew how to read the expressions of his sisters, and by extension those of other people. He had figured out how to decode human expression using the silence that had once bored him. Okay, that's all for today. You know what to do. See you later.